The Beach FM Business Lunch Show, brought to you by PlaceMakers Kapiti Horowhenua. Together we're building New Zealand.
Welcome back to the Business Lunch Show on Beach FM 106.3 with Damian. Well, it is a great honour of mine to introduce our next guest. I get stopped all the time over the last 4 years and people asking me about the beautiful pounamu that is around my neck that was proudly made by my friend for my graduation from broadcasting school almost 4 years ago. It is a great honour of mine to welcome into the show from Pukerua Bay and wherever he is now. It is Tim Steele. G'day, TJ.
Kia ora, Damo. How are you?
I'm good, brother. How are you been?
Yeah. I've been really good. Thank you for having me on.
Well, thank you for finally coming on, my man. I have been hounding you. I'm not going to lie, but you've got a beautiful story to tell, man, and you've got a gift. And if I can, share that with people, then I'll exploit it. I mean, share it hard out, So, man, what I like to do first and foremost, man, is we like to get to know our guests. And I've known you a long time, we go way back. But, what started as like a little hobby for yourself has just evolved into this amazing gift that you've got and the journey that you've had over the last few years to where you are now. So, firstly, in your own words, mate, how did Tim Steele Stone come about? And just a bit about yourself, if you could.
Yeah, okay. This could potentially get a little bit long-winded, but I'll just go for it. I grew up in Pukerua Bay and born and raised there, and pretty much my entire life I have collected beach materials, mainly stones, wherever I go. It's always fascinated me, different types of materials, sort of just the look of them, the feel of them, and all that sort of stuff. And I was in my mid-20s. I was working for New Zealand Post. It was a job that I'd been doing for quite some time. It was kind of sucking my life essence out of me. It was quite a boring job, and I'd been doing it for too long. So I quit and went to the Learning Connection, which is an art school in Taita in Lower Hutt. At the time I was living in Petone. And they had a little stone carving studio on campus. So they didn't actually have any specialised stone tutors there, but they did have some that could assist me. They had sculpture tutors and stuff like that. So pretty much for the first year of my sort of adventure into working stone, I was pretty much self-taught. My first sort of mentor was a man by the name of Steve Murrah, and he is one of the best stone carvers, in my personal opinion, in terms of finish, and he's just got this amazing eye. But he showed me the ropes of how to put a finish on a simple form, and he showed me the hard way, and then he showed me the easy way after I did it the hard way. Great guy. He actually lives in Paraparaumu, and he's a bloody good man. So big nod to Steve. And so from there, I met a man by the name of Rick Moore, who is based in Rapahoi down on the west coast, just north of Greymouth, and he invited me down to learn from him. He was a tutor at Tai Potini Polytech down there, and they had a jade and hard stone carving course. So I went and I spent a year down there, met some lovely people. I learned a lot about the stone, about jade, pounamu, and from there I moved back up to the North Island, and I set up my first studio in Paikakariki. My good friends Jack and Miriama Grace Smith, they were on a bit of a clothing venture at the time, Foresight Clothing, and so they'd set up the Foresight Clothing HQ, and that was at the old Salty Towers Fish and Chip Shop in Paikakariki. So for anybody that knows that place, they had there was a basement, and I was lucky enough to rent the basement and set up my first studio. It was very cold, and then after that, they moved their HQ into a clothing shop on Cuba Street in Wellington. So I, along with the help of some friends of mine, set up a studio underneath the flat that I was living in. My landlord was kind enough to allow me to do that, and at the time I was living with a guy by the name of Mike Johnston. You might know him, Damo.
Oh, yes. Yes.
Yeah.
He is my first cousin, after all.
Yeah. Absolutely fantastic man, and he's not a bad fisherman either.
No, he's not bad.
Yeah, and so from there, I started sort of, I guess, introducing myself to galleries and shops around the country, and especially in Wellington. I developed a bit of a relationship with Kuta Gallery in Wellington, and they were one of the first places to take me on a consignment basis and allowed me to, I guess, express myself and allowed me to kind of develop my style, and they advocated and put my work out there. So that was really cool. And so from there, after kind of getting a few galleries and shops, I was able to sustain myself, so make a living, which was great. And then I moved into Newtown, and in Newtown I had there was a glass house on the property, so it was a bit of an interesting setup, but managed to set up a workspace in the glass house, which was really nice in the summertime, but not as pleasant in the winter. And that was around the time that I started talking with a few international jade artists, and from those conversations, I was invited to what's called the Zigang Bay, which is an international jade exhibition held in Suzhou in China. So in 2017, I attended that and received a bronze award for one of my sculptures, and that was really, really encouraging for me. I also got to meet some amazing people, so I was absolutely stoked. And from there, I kind of came back with a bit of a skip in my step. At this time in my life, I had met an amazing lady, and I had a lovely little girl who would have been about 6 months old, and we bought a house in Waipawa in Central Hawke's Bay, which is where I'm based now, with an absolutely amazing large shed, which I've converted half of that into a really nice workspace, which is always nice to have. And in 2019, I attended another Zigang Bay, which was, I think, the 10th anniversary of the exhibition, where I received another bronze award for another Pounamu sculpture, which I think was acquired by an American couple, so it now resides somewhere in the States. But from there, I guess it's just been about me putting my name out there. I do find it quite hard to put myself out there and put my face out there, but I've started kind of getting used to that. That's part of what goes on. But as an artist, it's always, you want your work to kind of to speak for you. So you don't necessarily want to, I guess, I don't really know how to explain it, but you don't really want to put your...
Blow your own trumpet.
Yeah, well, that's it. You don't want to blow your own trumpet. No. You don't want to, use your identity and your personality to sell your work. Your work, in my personal opinion, your work should speak for itself.
Absolutely.
But yeah, I guess that's the gist of
That's the story. That's the story.
Yeah.
TJ, amazing stuff, man. From collecting stones on Pukerua Bay Beach to what you're doing now, winning international awards. Mate, we're all so proud of you. But what I want to know is, how has your art, your vision, what you create, how has that evolved from the more you learn about it? Because you're not exactly doing the stuff that you were doing 5 years ago, and each thing that you do, you learn more. You're always evolving with the art.
Yeah. And Damo, that's a really good way to put it. It's a constant development and a constant evolution, and I tend to think about a lot of things. I think one thing that has always kind of remained in terms of why I work the stone and my design and stuff like that is paying tribute to the material that I work with, and doing it justice, and creating, I guess, almost like heirloom pieces of work for, because it's the material itself has been around a lot longer than humans have, and it's going to be around a lot longer than us after. So instead of, I don't really think of the stone being in my life. I think of myself being in the stone's life because of how much longer, it's taken to form, and it's come into my life. But I'm also part of its life and its journey. And when I design things, I do think about that privilege. A lot of the aesthetic that I've been really working with lately has been a lot to do with how, as humans, how we inhabit our sort of spaces and the different sort of environments around us, whether they are urban environments, how technology affects us in positive and negative ways, and also just kind of I guess paying respect to nature, and also acknowledging that we're just a small part of something. Yep. Yeah, I don't know if I answered your question or not.
Absolutely did, mate. Let's talk about the stone for a second, because I know it's not just you going to mine by yourself and getting it. Like you've got papers, you've got history, you've looked into your historic history as well. So tell us a bit about that.
Okay, well, so I obtained my stone through an authentication scheme. Which is through my iwi. So I whakapapa back to Kaitahu and Kati Mamui down south, and through them I purchased authenticated stone, mainly from the Kati Waiwai Runanga, and so most of that stone comes out of the Arahura, the Marsden Field. It's all West Coast material. But I have recently started working with some really nice, sort of, I guess, unidentified Nelson materials. They are so pounamu. The most commonly known pounamu is nephrite jade. The Nelson pounamu is a nephrite diopside mix, so it's still a jade as such, but it comes in much larger array of colours and compositions, mineral compositions. So I've just recently started working with that, which has been it's an absolute privilege to work with such an amazing material. And yeah, I don't know.
Mate, last time I was at your workshop, it was I love how the use of recycling materials. You're not just wasting space, energy and materials from the earth. There, it's all one system, which is pretty impressive. But when we were talking at that time, you were talking about how you were getting into your tiki and how that was going to become a new challenge for you, and that you were learning about that. And since you've released a few, so can I ask about that evolve, that added bow to the already repertoire that you've built up the last few years?
Okay, so I was on my 2019 visit to Suzhou. I was lucky enough to meet an absolutely amazing Pounamu carver by the name of Lewis Gardner. He was part of the Kiwi contingent that was invited over, and through that he invited me because he was a bit buzzed out that I hadn't actually carved a tiki before. So he was kind of like, "Oh, you haven't carved a tiki," and so he offered for me to come up in Wānanga with his boys. He owns a shop in Rotorua, Rakai Jade.
Yeah.
So that Rakai Jade is an absolutely amazing crew of Indigenous Pounamu artists, and yeah, huge respect to them. Check them out. Yeah, they're great. So Lewis showed me the ropes along with another fellow that was there, Joel Buck Masters. He kind of, I got to learn the fundamentals through them. From there, I've tried to develop my own style a little bit, which is always an ongoing process and an evolution. And then I've managed to, I've kind of managed to start pushing out a few that are quite unique, but definitely inspired by the ancient taonga that is the Heitiki. So yeah.
Beautiful. Hey mate, COVID was a different for everybody. Was you mad scientist in the shed creating new? Like, was it a creative time for you, or was it just time to just relax and be with the family? Because I know it's growing.
Yeah. Okay. Well, my second daughter was born 2 days before the lockdown, the nationwide lockdown. So that was great timing because we really got to all bond as a little family unit.
Awesome.
And all kind of I just kind of fell in love with my family a little bit more, and that was really nice. And I did get a little bit of time in the shed, not as much as I usually would, because my elder daughter, she was no longer going to daycare, so
right.
There was a lot of toddler management going on. But I've created a series of Heitiki, which at the moment I'm calling them urban tiki. They have a much more squared off aesthetic to them, to reflect the contemporary urban environment that we all tend to or the majority of us tend to exist in or participate in. So that was really cool to be able to I got more creative. I got to think about things and do things that I wouldn't have usually had the time to do. So, it was a blessing in disguise, and it was definitely the silver lining to the whole lockdown situation. There has been a definite drop in demand. So I guess that's just all part of it. Part of my market is related to the tourism industry. I wholesale stock to Mountain Jade. They have a number of shops around the country which they've had to close down, which was really, really sad. But in terms of, I guess, what you would call bespoke pieces, like one-off custom pieces, that's what I've been focusing on more for collectors and people to if they want something to become an intergenerational family treasure, is kind of that has, I've been lucky enough to have been part of the process of making pieces for those people. So, yeah.
Well, I wear mine very proudly, and I know most of my family do as well. It's become a family tradition, a piece from you on milestone birthdays. So may long it continue, my man. Hey, I've already taken up so much of your time. You're probably on toddler duty today, but thank you so much for sharing the story, how you've evolved, and where you're going with it. I really appreciate it, bro. And lastly, what we always like to do is how can people get in touch? How can they find you? What are your handles?
Okay, so I've got I don't have my website is in the process of being built, but while that's being built, you can find me. I have a Facebook artist page, which is facebook.com / Tim Steele Stone, all one word. Otherwise, you can find me on Instagram. My handle is at Tim Steele Stone. Those are the best two avenues to contact me. If you do see any work on there that you're interested in, please send me a message and we can start talking about things if you like my style. And I just also like to acknowledge you, Damo. Thank you very much for having me on. You're an extremely good man. I've always told you that.
Mate, I love you. So thank you so much for coming on, mate. Much love to you and that little clan of yours now. Mate, keep on doing the good stuff, and I'll go for a little road trip to come and check out the shed soon.
Yeah. No, it'll be a pleasure to see you guys up here, eh?